Well, let's go to the Battleground and see that improvement unfold in front of us as we look at Battleground number 1. Tomb of the Spider Queen. Looking over to bans, BOE and Dragonshire will be taken out between these two. Dragonshire always being a consistent ban for Roll20.
But there's also a couple of adjustments that immediately come in when you're looking at the ban pattern here for the teams, and that's always a super interesting thing to talk about, since Liquid, for example, used to ban Braxis whenever they got the opportunity, and that's not the case right now. Instead, they're banning out BOE, and that's an adjustment because they're looking over to Roll20, the former Zealot team, and they're thinking, okay, what is, in terms of prep work, the map that these guys are, first of all, the best on, and second of all, what do they want? And if you look at the way that the maps are being drafted for Roll20, they really like to take an opponent to Battlefield of Eternity. It's one of their most played maps. They chose it 5 times, and it's also a map where when you take a closer look, you see that they have a 60% win rate. That doesn't really sound amazing, but then you put it in comparison to their average win rate of 23%, and all of a sudden you see this is definitely something where they excel at. So Liquid making that adjustment away from banning out Braxis and risking that being picked against them later, and going to ban out Battlefield, I really like that choice. And it shows that the shot calling changes and the preparation changes that we have on their side are already showing some results in the way that they are approaching games.
In terms of bans, we go back to the normal pickups. We have Maiev taken away and Genji. Phoenix will be the next answer for Team Liquid. My question is really, do we see a lot more Hammer being played today? Will she be banned out? We saw a lot of Zebo being mixed in last week, Asmodan, and from the leftovers as well. There are answers starting to pop up, and we're going to see if we're going to get more of that mixed in here between these two. Granted, with Team Liquid playing a little bit more melee-based, we might not get as much Hammer, but still, something to worry about.
One of the things that I want to see how it's going to play a role. Well, Tomb is maybe not really the perfect map for it. Thrall can still be played here, but it's not necessarily the map where I expected super heavy melee style coming in again. And as we talked about it, here we have the adjustment for Blaze on to the lane, onto the off lane immediately. But yeah, later on I really want to see where Thrall lands. Is Thrall again a hero that Liquid is able to pick up on bigger map and bigger battlegrounds as they did in the past? Are Zealots going, or the Roll20, are they going to try and ban it out, pick it away maybe? So Thrall is going to be an interesting one for me in this series.
Thrall is something that Roll20 can play as well. I mean, first you got Zharmony in the top lane, he can play if he needs to. He's going to play playing Yrel on this Battleground, but we also had Quack in the past show us some Thrall. When he was with Fnatic towards the end there, he mixed in Thrall as one of the heroes that he's mixed in, so Roll20 can adapt and switch if they want to take that away from Team Liquid. Over Team Liquid though, let's figure out what exactly they're going to be moving into in terms of main tank. We've been seeing a lot of Johanna actually for a lot of these teams, especially on this Battleground. Giving the wave clear allows for them to handle the map.
I really like the way that they are currently opening this up. Having Yrel and Deckard Cain in the first rotation is great for them. Deckard Cain, by the way, is by now the most played hero in HGC Europe. Yeah, Tychus.
He's finally here! It's taken months, it seems like.
Hell, it's about time.
Hell, it is about time. Tychus coming out full swing here for Team Liquid. Team Liquid actually ran a lot of Tychus when they first started in the HGC back in, back in the day.
Inferno Shrines was one of the maps where they play Tychus by far the most. And of course, with Odin hopping, you can always try and secure the Shrine. Simply, well, very similar to what we are seeing these days with Alexstrasza. It's a pretty simple idea. Get 20 of those stacks and then go into your heroic ability. Try to push the opponent out or force them to fight into it. That usually works pretty well. But yeah, Liquid definitely, they ran Tychus a lot. These days, you don't see him that often, so it's the nerfs to him, especially in terms of the range on his auto attacks. That was always a big problem for him. But now they can burn down any tank. But they signal it very early.
Yeah, it's super early. And when they ran Tychus on this Battleground back in the day too, they also mixed it in with a Zarya. I don't think we're beginning it today, but it is something to know that Team Liquid has had that in their back pocket. Granted, this is a new roster, new meta, probably not going to see her pop in, but the idea was to protect Tychus, allow for him to get that minigun damage in, shred out a tank, and also be able to back up by protecting him with those shields. Over to Roll20, they go into wave clear as they bring out the Johanna we mentioned earlier, but they added Junkrat on top of it.
I'm just questioning if it would maybe have been worth to pick Tychus a bit later on during the draft. I don't think there are any real adjustments to that. I mean, the only thing where you could make an argument might be the tank. Maybe there was a thought process on the side of Roll20 to go into Muradin instead of Johanna, but then again, it's Tomb of the Spider Queen, so Johanna already adds a lot through the wave clear, which is one of the big problems that Muradin at least experiences. So don't really think there's a huge downside on picking him this early, but he could have definitely used it as a bit of a surprise, considering that he is not really part of the meta in Europe at this point and isn't getting picked a lot.
We'll have the Hanzo and Mouth come out for a 4th and 5th pick. Explosive Arrow on level 4 gives you that wave clear you're looking for. Tyke's can do alright in the laning phase in terms of helping out with wave clear, but having a little bit extra measure from Hanzo is going to be great for Team Liquid. Looking over to Roll20, they'll finish off with a Rainer pick. They showcased him last week at one of their matches.
And this is now one of those scenarios where you have Tychus picked over Rainer. And this is what a lot of teams are not really willing to do, just simply because they perceive Rainer as being the better auto attacker in general. Whereas Tychus, of course, gives you a few more options to burn targets down at the front through the minigun. You have the grenades and interrupt, a bit better wave clear depending on how you roll with it. So, yeah, Jimmy, not apparently high in the priority for Team Liquid compared to Tigers, and how that's going to fare, that's something that we have to watch out for now.
Rainer's going to be helpful in controlling Garrosh, though. When Garrosh is about to try and grab off those combos, you can, of course, knock him back with the penetrating round if he's unable to drop the Indomitable at the perfect timing, which is a very hard timing to find against a Rainer player. So should be able to control that front line. I'm just really curious to where Tyke is going to be able to find that value. Tyke stepping up into a Johanna is scary with the blinds and a Condemn popping out anytime. He could get caught out.
I mean, to be fair, Garrosh shouldn't really get a lot of value here, because you really need to get close to someone, and how do you do that? You have Urel creating space. If you flip her, she jumps out. You have Johanna, who can, after a flip or even before, through an Iron Skin, simply move away. And you don't want to throw her into the backline either, if you can prevent it. So who else are you going to get on? Ideally, you want to go onto the backline, but that shouldn't really happen with the front line that Roll20 is running here. So that Garrosh pick shouldn't give them too much here, to be absolutely honest.
He'll be more of, okay, we control this area of the map. Do not come over to this area if we're standing here. Bush, allowing for Tychus to try and rotate around to the top side, but I agree. It's going to be really difficult for Garrosh to find the picks that he wants, especially, you forget about the Junkrat. Junkrat with his mines constantly being tossed down, making it hard for anyone to back up Garrosh, or if Garrosh wants to retreat, he might get knocked back into the team fight in a spot that he doesn't want to deal with. I agree. This is going to be really difficult for Garrosh, so we're expecting him to play it safe. Looking over to Blaze, he should be finding that bottom lane, but Urel should be able to dictate that well. I think overall, if I look at these compositions, I think Roll20 is in a good spot where they can earn a win on this battleground if they can find those first couple of turn-ins.
I mean, they have a really decent draft, and they have also with Quacknick someone who really knows how to draft and how to shot call. The problem that this team suffers from is really that they had so much or very little time to mesh together as a team. And also, Quack coming in had a very, very different playstyle and also very different expectations towards his teammates than what we had with the previous setup where ADRD was running a lot of the show. So definitely different types of leaders currently, or at the beginning at least, giving them some problems. Now they're in a situation where you can see improvement and where things are getting better. But it's not really a surprise that there is a lot of synergy in the draft, at least, because you have someone that definitely knows what he's doing, has done it for one of the best teams in the world for a long time.
Yeah, the first couple of weeks that Roll20 came out with Quack as the leader, they were playing compositions that had a new Barak or these isolation type of compositions where Old Fnatic would have pounced. Roll20, not quite as fast. They weren't the tarantula you were looking for, trying to go in for the full bite and get that kill.
One of the things that Quackness has talked about a lot is that he wanted to improve communication. Yeah. This is something that he personally, from his background with Fnatic, perceived to be lacking on the side of his, or not being as strong on the side of his new teammates with his old ones, where he is like, okay, as a leader, I need more communication from you people. I need you to tell me more things. I need everyone to just be on the same page here. And if I don't get that information, then I have a tough time making these calls. That's something he talked about in the past, something that was just a bit better with Fnatic. But then again, he wasn't Fnatic for a long, long time. So you build that synergy over time, and this is something that's the goal, the declared goal on the side of Roll20 now. We heard Chris in the interview talk about exactly that. We need to improve. We have things that we practice currently in scrims. We need to transfer that over in HGC. If we can do that against the top teams, then we're going to look strong against direct competitors and might be able to, if not move out of the Crucible, then at least make sure that the top spot coming into the Crucible, which might be Epung's Black, are going to be deterred from picking us, so we have a bit of an easier time defending our spot in HGC.
Yeah, that state of second nature missing from Roll20, but it's getting closer and closer. We continue to see the improvement week in and week out. On the other side, Team Liquid, they have really started to nail a groove, and seeing them bounce back after the Western Clash is also a great testament to how strong this team has come as a foundation. Let's go ahead and move into game number 1 in this best of 5 series and see who will pull ahead between Team Liquid and Roll20.
Game number 1, ladies and gentlemen, as we are heading into Tomb of the Spider Queen, and over to the left side, Roll20 with Chat on Deckard, Kane, Quacknix on Junkrat. We're currently seeing Chris on the auto attacker. He's playing Reyna, Robodoba, of course, on Johanna with a frontline tank, and Zarmany on the side lane with Urel.
On the right side in the red, Sport Billy on Garrosh, Nurok on Malfurion, Eternal on Blaze, Arcaner on Hanzo, Haswabs will be playing Tychus. Immediately, level 1 talent being picked up for Tychus is going to be the dash. Looking to grab a little bit of more moon speed there once he finishes that rewarded quest of 25 regeneration globes. Also, the range getting increased is always nice as well. I'm going to be keeping an eye on Quacknix when it comes to his Junkrat. He displayed Junkrat a few times when he was on Fnatic, to the point where a couple weeks he was actually first pick for them. One thing that he does really well, as I was about to point it out, is he finds a way to get those traps and displaces his opponent. Sport Billy gets tossed into the fight, but somehow actually gets away.
I was actually impressive that he lived there, but it was also a really cool side story here for Roll20 that they are able to create these opportunities this early in the game. We still have to remember that we are looking at the number 8 versus the number 2 in the standings, and we talked a bit about the reasons for that, but still, Roll20 wants to make improvements, and they need to showcase that. In this case, though, Johanna falls as we're seeing the attack against Robodoba, so it didn't work out for the blue team when they were trying to take down Garrosh. Now definitely worked out for Team Liquid.
Bit of a spread, though, from Roll20 as they put 2 in the bottom lane. Zarmany and Chris push in Blaze as quickly as they can, realizing they lose Johanna. They wanted to make sure they get pressure on the map somewhere. Peel off Team Liquid. Team Liquid spots Zarmany going for a turn-in, but Zarmany able to drop off the few gems he has. A 6 has been put in the bank.
Also, with Blaze taken early in the game for Team Liquid in the draft, another reason why we can see that, and that might be the case here, I mean, obviously we don't know and not being able to listen to comms here, but Roll20 with Zarmany on Blaze has a pretty decent track record. So this is not only his hero that you secure for yourself that is quite strong, but it's also a hero that Zarmany excels at, and his Urel gets punished hard here at the bot lane since Liquid rotates quickly and takes him down.
Yeah, big pickup for them. They get that lane pushed in, also get a few gems turned off, but the real prize is being able to grab these giants. Haswabs and Nurok will be able to start grabbing that to have some pressure in that bottom lane. Urel will be able to clear that up, but with her being busy, Team Liquid can make a play to either drop off a few of those gems or even go for an aggressive night camp afterwards, and that opens up the battleground, which allows them to start breaking down some turrets or start to move towards that turn-in, and once they get that 50, they'll be looking to open up.
This is a really fantastic start here for Team Liquid. Getting the night camp is huge, and that really allows them to establish some map control.
See if they're going to move to the night camp. The Giants are already actually being protected. Nurok will be here on the side just to make sure that Thermal doesn't get caught out. Allows them to step up, and there's also ups too.
Good move also by Zarmany. With Urel, you have the opportunity to just push these Giants into the tower range, and that's what he was trying to do. But immediately Liquid pouncing on him, so really nice, trying to punish the positioning of Zarmany.
One of the good things that Hasselhoff brings here playing Tychus is that grenade. You can actually interrupt Urel trying to knock her back when she goes for the jump. Not a full stun, but something that can be annoying for her, but also burning down tanks. Look at Robodoba here, having a hard time on that front line.
And it's again the rotation of Liquid that's just so powerful. The jet propulsion of Eternal alone, just locking him in place once more, is fantastic here.
Solid push here, big experience jump up for Team Liquid. Gems continue to be dropped off, they certainly have enough. Team Liquid is dictating the pace.
Urel actually did a really good job trying to punish Blaze for the positioning up here, but then rotated it back down. So you're absolutely right. They're definitely stepping up the pace right now, Team Liquid that is, with the Webweaver wave to boot.
Which is interesting, because you look at their composition, you think the one that would step at the pace for them would be Garrosh, but it's actually Tychus just helping clear up these lanes, allows for them to really keep pushing forward.
It just really helps to burn Urel in particular down so quickly, and also Johanna outside of the Iron Skin here. It really shows how much burst at the beginning you have through your trait.
Now Hasselhoff showing how tanky Tychus can be. Gets ganked in the middle lane, but able to dash away, and now Team Liquid will take these web weavers and attempt to open the map. It is early, but you want to grab these turrets.
Now Roll20 really has a lot of wave clear available here, but it's definitely going to be a bit of a difficult defense into Garrosh now, because Sportbilly is already looking for opportunities to flip someone into the back.
Yeah, he's even willing to toss Johanna here. Typically that's a no-no when you're facing off, but again, we keep bringing up Tychus. He's going to be allow them to destroy there. If Iron Skin or the flashlight gets used at all, that's you'll see Robodoba get tossed.
And immediately here comes the engage. Robodoba moving out, the level 7 talent helping Liquid a lot here. They have a huge advantage here, pushing with web weavers and a talent advantage.
But Quack's positioning made Team Liquid back up. He came up from the top right and showed the idea of Junkrat sieging from far with grenades, but also the threat of throwing somebody into a fight. So Team Liquid Liquid didn't fully commit. And as I say that, Arcaner shows up and drops an arrow straight into Quack.
That's already 4 kills against 0. Liquid is definitely showing up on the map here. An entire level lead. Strong talent advantage that they held up to now, and they have done so much work on the infrastructure.
Look at that bottom lane, middle lane, top lane. Team Liquid, no doubt about it, is in a commanding lead. If they can find another turn-in, they're going to need some gems. They can really start to snowball this map. Roll20 has got to get it together.
Look how far they are in.
What?
Liquid is so far on the opponent's side. They're really looking for these kills right now. Nuro gets saved here, but this is actually Liquid just showing absolutely zero respect for Roll20 at this point and just pushing them into a massively defensive position.
Good teamwork, though, from Roll20, able to save Chris, stop that bleeding from happening as Team Liquid was looking for that kill. They can resume back to soaking as they're trying to move towards that level 10.
And of course, this is one of those moments where Roll20 has at least some interrupt potential against turn-ins. It's something they need to use now to make sure that Liquid doesn't get that second turn-in. They still are also a few gems short, but they are working on it.
Let's look at a couple of talents here for Tychus as we are working on those turn-ins. Level 4, the bigger they are coming online. Of course, lowering the cooldown of minigun, but also looking for that damage bonus, 4% of enemy heroes. Looking to get that extra damage in and try and burn down those big tanks, but also the level 7, which gives that tankiness that you see from Tychus. Relentless Soldier. If he gets stunned, he gets 25 armor.
Especially important once Blessed Shield is ready for Johanna.
Yes.
That's a great talent.
Even Condemn.
Yeah, exactly. Condemn, the Blessed Shield data. There's so many stun possibilities for Roll20 where Tychus can get a lot of value out of the Relentless Soldier.
Yep, and you can mix that with level 13 for Tychus as well to get a little bit more of that spell armor coming in too, just making him a serious threat when it comes to trying to focus down the target. His big weakness is he has to engage at close range, but having so much health and those talents available allows for him to survive.
Behemoth armor taken for Reyna on level 4. So the adjustment over the fight or flight. And Liquid right now is actually looking at level 10 abilities. So they have them super early, more than a level ahead of Roll20. And this is the perfect setup to work on that second turn in and make sure that with the objective, you can snowball the momentum even farther in your favor.
Now with that all being said, as we continue to focus on Team Liquid having this lead and extending that lead, do not forget what we saw last week from Fnatic. Holding on to the late game, holding on to those gems, and making a comeback happen. Roll20, if they can keep their head on their shoulders here and not fall victim to any ganks coming their way, they can come back.
The problem is really the kill count with that, right?
Yeah.
You need to be more careful so that you don't lose heroes. They didn't lose a massive amount of gems yet, but it already signals that there is a big threat looming on the horizon. If you lose, let's say, for example, Chrissy or Robadoba, that's another double-digit amount of gems down the drain. And Roll20 doesn't even have level 10s yet. Liquid is already pushing in, but Roll20 needs another few seconds until they have heroic abilities ready for the defense.
Yep, Roll20's got us up to bleeding. There's only so long your heart can keep up. Team Liquid pushing in the top lane. 10 about to connect with Roll20. They have to back up. They got to be wary of a Dragon's Arrow that can come out. But look at the bottom. Blaze is just pushing in.
Yeah, Blaze is pushing in, and now level 10s are finally ready for the blue team. But the problem is, with the push already being that aggressive in the middle at the bot lane, Roll20 is having a tough time to defend against it.
Oh wow, Team Liquid is committing. With them knowing that there's a big wave in the bottom pushing and that Roll20 has to defend it, they pop Odin in the middle of the map, and Odin is great for sieging on infrastructure. Here he goes, turret going down, gate as well.
Yeah, they're already dropping the entire wall here, and that's perfect for Team Liquid. They get value 2 levels ahead. Roll20 desperately trying to hold on to as much infrastructure as possible, but they are far behind at this point in time.
I mean, the moment Roll20 comes over to defend that and the Odin expires, they just rotate the top, put some damage on top of that fort, and that is getting them close to level 13. Team Liquid going to keep a talent lead over their opponents. Roll20 has to do something now, but that window is closing.
Exactly. The level 13 talent for Team Liquid is going to give them another lead here in this game. And at this point, 92 gems for Roll20 isn't too bad. You talked about it earlier, that comeback potential on Tomb of the Spider Queen.
Yep, the 3 turn-ins that we saw from Fnatic last week was able to net them a win in a big way. Team Liquid already setting up to defend those turn-ins, though, knowing that they have that level 13. They spread themselves slightly thin here. You have Sport Billy in the bottom, while the rest are watching the top.
And I really like Blaze's rotation towards the Siege Giant camp, too, because Liquid has vision. They know where the opponent is. They only send Eternal, and they still have a couple of heroes, at least in the area, so that they can rotate down once they see movement on the other side.
Yep, it's smart map control. Team Liquid playing it slow. The good thing for Roll20, though, is look at this. This Banshee being picked up. This can scout ahead. Give them an idea of where exactly Garrosh is.
What I also really like is that Team Liquid is using the map control they have in the middle to already turn in. they're not in a position where they can secure a turn-in and an objective for themselves, but they're making sure that even if they lose a few heroes, it's not going to be too bad for them.
It's kind of like taking the training weights off. You just knock everything off, you're completely free, you can move forward, you can play the game as you want. Arrow comes out, ooh, but Shad on the rocket will sidestep.
That was an important one, though. Shad really watching out here for the mini-map and the arrow coming in. That was a good one to just shoot out here from Hanzo. They still have the talent advantage. They have a 2-level lead. There's no downside to it, really, since there's not going to be an engage. Or is there? Arcana being attacked. He might actually fall here. Nice engage by Roll20, but the save through Garrosh once again. Great job here by Sportbilia and Team Liquid in general to keep Hanzo alive.
Natural agility is such a interesting mechanic. You're able to get away from that fight. Oh my gosh, as Raynor gets picked up in the top right corner, Chris just lingering a little bit too long, but Arcaner in a spot where he should have fallen victim, but able to jump away thanks to his teammates showing up and responding.
Yeah, and Liquid is now going straight for the boss here, still holding on to that 2-level lead. But look at Garrosh. Garrosh isn't even with him. He's currently still trying to control the bottom turn-in point because Roll20 is already very much so in the know that there is some potential attempt for the boss, so they're trying to use that time frame to at least get a turn-in for themselves.
Tychus rotating down too. Team Liquid may be able to fight this. There's Odin popped in the bush. Bit of a surprise. Here comes Sportbilly stepping up, continuing to cut away. No taunt for 10 seconds, but that armor is kicking in.
Turn-in has been successfully pushed through by Roll20 though, so at least they're getting something done as the boss is moving in, and that will force Team Liquid to hold on to at least some of those lanes and gives Roll20 an opportunity to go through the top lane and defend against the boss. But here comes the arrow, and that might be the end of it.
The best part was Inferno with the flank. The Jet Propulsion straight in, but the Iron Skin allows for Johanna to escape. Shad dropping the stay a while, listen, just to keep his teammates alive.
But of course, in the meantime, the boss at the top lane already working on the gate. Roll20 rotates, and Team Liquid therefore is going to have an easy time taking down those web weavers. Roll20 going for the trade turn-in against boss defense.
You know that you're feeling pretty good about your position in a game when you're throwing your Malfurion forward to try and get a root on the opposing team. Nurok in the bottom left was tossed by Garrosh. Team Liquid keeping this lead, moving towards 16. These web weavers shouldn't get too much. The defense for Team Liquid is reduced slightly with them not having Odin, but you can see already they've got enough wave clear. The web weaver in the middle should be done with, and top Team Liquid is working on 16 as Honda defense. Yeah,
Garrosh getting a little bit like impatient with the old man here. It's like, move, dude. Just throws him over and tries to close the gap here.
When are you not impatient with an old man? Let's be honest.
I mean, it's not quite like Korean Arjumas actually have perfected the skill of body blocking. It's really impressive. Real life body blocks, if you've never experienced that, you should go to Seoul one day. It is fascinating. And it's a skill, it's really a technique. So, yeah, little Furion with the body blocks there. He has a bit of an... He's like plus 20% body blocking just simply because of weird and slow movements.
It's that wingspan. It really is.
The wingspan, yeah,
wingspan,
exactly.
Yeah.
I thought it was a green beard, you know, it has some magical powers or something.
That's the reason to grow a beard, so you can body block people. Now I understand.
It has to be a green beard, though.
Yeah.
Attention to detail, my friend.
Green beard. Would I want to commit to that ever in life? I'm thinking about it.
Oh, God, please. Please do.
I'll do it if you commit to hair. Just hair in general.
I'm going to wear another wig if you actually color your...
And look like Abe Lincoln? Oh, those were good days. Those were good days. Ball door. All right, guys. Team Liquid pushing in the middle. Web Weaver's pushing out, too. They got the Giants in the bottom lane. This is a powerful macro play.
I mean, Liquid is running a tight ship here. It's a 5-0 kill count, 16, nearly 17 to 14, so it's a huge level advantage for them. They are making all the right calls here. They dominate the objective. They really work with this setup, and especially the burst damage that we have from Tychus through his level 4 talent, the bigger they are, shows. It pushes Roll20 down and keeps them in a really difficult spot. Whenever they step out, Liquid is ready to punish them.
I mean, it's a 13-minute keep. Roll20 can't do much about it. They have to use Junkrat's Riptire just to have wave clear. That Riptire is core in the top lane to slow down the bleeding on the keep in the top lane, and Team Liquid continues to extend their lead. And they have Odin. They're going to pop it, and they're committed.
To be absolutely honest with you, Team Liquid is just running a very clean game here. They had a few moments where it looked as if Roll20 might be able to secure a kill for themselves and maybe start a bit of a comeback. Yeah. But so far, that hasn't happened. And Liquid really just pushes the agenda whenever they can, as we see right here in front of us now.
Poor Billy. Feeling a little aggressive, steps up and tries to find a Urel. Won't find the opportunity, but that gives Team Liquid a little bit of space, put some damage on top of this Keep, which falls low and low.
It makes me incredibly happy to see that Team Liquid just perfectly understands when to really push their agenda. They know about the advantage in stats that they have. They know also that they are way ahead in talents, so they're just making very aggressive rotations the entire time. They're trying to get a root set up. They throw out a couple of arrows, always look for that kill, and it puts Roll, even if it doesn't work out, they usually do it in a fashion that they know if we just burn a cooldown now, it will be ready for the next big team fight anyway. So we have a free cooldown, let's use it and see if we can get an engagement. If that doesn't work out, it still puts Roll20 onto their toes here. And it's incredible how Team Liquid plays around that threat level and that aggression that they exude in this game.
I like how they go for one more attempt to find someone to pick off, hoping that maybe a squishy match.
Yeah, exactly.
But the window closes and they just back up. 19 to 16, a full level before Team Liquid hits 20. Roll20 has to force something, and one of the best ways to do that is to go for a turn-in. Force Team Liquid to come to you.
I mean, this is really 16 versus 16 talent level. It's the best chance that you're going to get to make a dent in this defense or in this setup that Team Liquid has. Roll20 needs to move, and they need to move now. You're 3 levels behind, but once your opponent hits 20, you are going to be in an extremely tough spot. Tougher than you are already. So this is really the moment to make a play.
Team Liquid has multiple tools equipped to thwart this attempt to turn in. Roll20 drops off a few gems though. Robodoba has 27. There goes the Sonic Arrow for the delay. Blaze was pushing out the bottom lane too and soaking, getting closer towards that 20. Roll20 continuing to try to push the envelope. Zarmony may just have to go for an aggressive evade.
Yeah, and Liquid is just happy to delay this for as long as they possibly can. Even if the turn-in at some point goes through, Liquid should have Storm Talons ready for the defense, and they know that, of course. Already Hanzo here at the bot lane. The turn-in attempt still not successful for Roll20. Here comes Johanna. They need to make a move right now. The stun comes through with the jet propulsion. Stay a while and listen, hitting nothing but dead air. And Odin already popped in the backline as Liquid is pushing forward aggressively.
The only way that Roll20 may have gotten a team fight to work out for them is if a Riptire connected with multiple members. Hang on, Robodoba gets tossed into the fight, getting siege down. Is he going to fall? Nurok with the auto attack too, and there it is. There's the kill. But Quacknick with the Riptire was interrupted by Arcaner, who dropped down the Dragon's Arrow and prevented the Riptire from connecting with anyone.
And now they're going for boss again, and Storm Talons are about to be there. They just took down Johanna. There is no way for Roll20 to make a play here. To be honest, Roll20 still needs to go for it though. They need to go and try and take that boss, because if they don't, then Team Liquid pushes in with Storm Talons and a boss 17 minutes in without a keep at the top lane. And here comes Roll20, but they're way too late.
Zarmony, Thompson gets taunted, and he is down. Roll20 is down to 3, and they have to kite away. Team Liquid tosses in a Thermal. His jet propulsion's about to be up, but Quack is attempting to shave Shad, but Shad all by himself, unable to get out of the fight. He will fall too.
Why would he shave him? Can't he do that himself?
Because of the beard, dude. He was trying to shave him.
I mean, he has a really long beard.
Yeah, we talked about it.
Ah, that's okay.
Beards and body blocking. You don't want to deal with that. Take him out.
The weird part for me is really that Roll20 tried to get the turn-in before they went to the boss, because that should have been the immediate reaction after Johanna goes down. And with the boss lost, you just can't hold onto that game. It was a 4 versus 5 anyways, but you need to make that Hail Mary move if you try and stay in the game somehow, if you hope for that miracle. But it doesn't happen. Team Liquid with an extremely clean game. 8-0 in kills and a 3-level advantage. Takes down a Roll20 on Tomb of the Spider Queen.
Team Liquid goes up 1-0, and Roll20 going into game number 2. Gonna have to have a stronger early game. And it is Tomb of the Spider Queen. It's one of these battlegrounds that we can see some snowball potential happen on, similar to Sky Temple. Team Liquid is playing a very clean game. But Roll20 not seeming like they are up to the task here to take on Team Liquid.
No, not really. It was Liquid with an incredible clean and dominant performance. And it worked. The Tiger's pick in particular really worked out for them. Just going in, setting the roots up, locking a target into place, burning it down at the start. Urel had huge problems dealing with that, as you could see.
Yeah.
And that was a massive problem. Both of the frontliners that we highlighted in the draft that should be able to first of all, stay alive and really sustain that front line and make it impossible for Garish to engage into the back line. Had massive, massive problems here to stay alive because of Tychus and the follow-up that we saw from Arcana.
It could also be that we haven't seen Tychus in a long time against a lot of these teams here in the HGC, that it may have been a bit of a surprising factor, right, to have your Johanna and your Rel get burned down so quickly. We had so many fights in the early game that had led into multiple kills for Team Liquid that it just felt like the entire duration of the match was Roll20 on the back foot, trying to recuperate from that early game. So maybe going into game number 2, if a Tychus is picked up again, we won't have that explosive moment happen, as we'll have our front line play a little bit more safer, because that was definitely a bit of a surprise, and Team Liquid just showcased it.
Yeah, Team Liquid just ran over them.
Yeah.
There's very little to say about it. The two frontliners having trouble, then Urel dying at the bot lane right at the start led to the Siege Giants taken early on. Normally that doesn't really happen anymore, because every time when you're trying to go onto the bot lane and you try to take the Siege Giants, your opponent realizes that 1 or 2 heroes are missing on the map and starts invading it. But if you do it right after kill, there's nothing that can really happen in a setup. And a lot of the engaged attempts that we saw from Roll20 were just shut down, and Liquid understood perfectly how to rotate, when to push aggressively, and they never really let off. So great game by Team Liquid, very clean.